this is our video on sowing tomato seed, and so I'm sure everyone's very excited to get started. There are two kind of main types of tomato you can grow. So the variety most commonly known, I guess, is the vine. So they grow very tall and they do need support, bamboo canes or string. And then as you can see in the picture there's like a bush type variety. So they are very compact and they can grow in pots. So that's the variety of seed I gave out to our participants. The bush variety tomatoes, obviously they're usually quite much smaller, so more like a cherry tomato, but tasty nonetheless. Okay, let's sow some seed. So step one is filling your seed tray. So I have my potting compost, and it's important now to push the compost into each cell really firmly. You'd be surprised how firm it needs to be. So I just keep pushing it, refilling it, and making sure that it's really firmly pressed. So you do that along every cell. So that's the seed tray filled, and I know it's firmly pushed down because if I'm pushing on each cell, there's not much movement there. It's nicely firm in there. If you see any big pieces of coconut fibre or big chunks like that, just pick them out. It's not a big deal though. So then what you need to do is water. So just give each cell a good soak. I'm doing a whole tray for my tomato seed because I'm growing tomatoes for the community garden. So we have a large polytunnel. So I'll be sowing lots of different varieties. You probably won't need to do a whole cell tray of tomato seed. You'll have a lot of tomato plants then. Maybe just 1 or 2 rows. Tomato seed germinates fairly successfully, so you could end up with a lot of tomato plants on your hand, but you could always give them away. That's what I tend to do. So as I said at the start of the video, the variety of tomato seed I gave out in the packs is the bush type. So it's a very small compact plant that can sit on a windowsill. So this variety and the variety I gave out to a few of you is this tumbler. And the seed, as usual, is very small here, as you can see. It's the same method for sowing, whether you're doing the bush or the vine type. It's the exact same. So if anybody is sowing vine tomatoes, this is the same technique. So it's up to you. You can do 1 or 2 seeds per cell. I tend to do just 1 because tomato seed is very successful in germination, I find. So it just makes potting on a bit easier if there's only 1 plant per cell. You're not having to separate them. So 1 seed in the middle of the cell is good. So I'm going to do all of these because I will likely be giving these plants out. So I'm going to do a few of these bush type. So I'll just show you there. So you can just see there, that's the seed in the middle of the cell. I'm going to cover the seed then very lightly with my potting compost. So I just sprinkle it over the top. So just make sure the seed is covered but not, buried under the compost there. What you want to do then is take your spray bottle and just mist the top of the cells that you just have your seed sown into, just to ensure that there's a good bit of moisture on the top there. It's a good way to water the seedlings as well if you can get your hands on a spray bottle like that. Okay, you're almost done then. You need to label. So I have tomato tumbler written there. Pop that into your seed tray, and especially important if you're going to be sowing a few different varieties of tomato, because every tomato seedling, regardless of the variety, looks the exact same, so it can get very confusing. Labeling is definitely very important. So that's that. You want to keep it on a sunny windowsill then. If you want to use a propagation lid, do go ahead. That fits nicely there on top of my tray. I'm going to go ahead there and sow the rest of the tray with different varieties. But yeah, in about 4 weeks they should be ready for potting on. The seedlings should emerge maybe in a week sometimes. Sometimes it can be 2 weeks. But in about 4 weeks then I'll do a video on potting them on into a bigger pot. So best of luck everybody with sowing your tomato seed. And just to say, if you don't already, you can follow us on our Facebook page, which is Knocknaheeny Hollyhill Community Garden, or our Niche Health Project Facebook page. And we'll see you again soon.